What's up, guys? It's Mr. Janvet, and today we are back after let's just call it season 3 of On the Contrary. It's not a hiatus. It's just we're working seasons, and so today we're gonna be discussing the post home meta. So basically the meta that we're in currently, and just giving our thoughts. The DLC is a week away, and so we're gonna be doing. Well, if Joey has the time, we're going to be doing another follow-up pre the launch, just to kind of give thoughts on, what we expect. And I know you guys love these kind of just podcast-ish dialogue, just kind of to hear what your favorite content creators think. And so Joey, you can go ahead and say what's up.
What's up, everybody? We're here to talk about this metagame, and then, like Jam said, we'll be back with a little bit more. I should have time. As long as it's before like the 16th, so that Monday. But I don't know. This meta is interesting, right? I honestly liked it a little bit more pre-home. Even though a lot of people were complaining pre-home, but I felt like towards the end of before home came out, like I was using Pokemon like Vanillix, and because it was a standard, but it wasn't so much so that I'm forced to use XYZ like to a point. I don't know. It made a big difference. Like Zeraora coming back made such a huge difference. I feel
Zeraora was post home.
Yeah, Zeraora post home. Kyurem was post home too. And Kyurem was a big one as well because obviously.
Oh dang! I didn't realize.
Yeah. I feel like those two specifically, alongside obviously Pokemon like Dracovish, really influenced the metagame that we have now. Right? Like basically, you have to use specialty defensive clef. That's like you have to use it because
of normal Kyurem.
Normal Kyurem 2 gives specs. Even Dragapult, like before, they were using a mixture of EVs. Like you'd have a little bit of defense, so you could take a hit from Conkeldurr, but also just a little bit of special defense, like maybe like 116 or 56 Calm. I don't remember what it was. That way you could take 2 Shadow Balls from Specs Pulp. And now even then, they're starting to adapt where they're using Hex as well alongside Shadow Ball, which is a guaranteed 2 KO and even especially defensive Clefable. So it's interesting to see how the metagame moved and was influenced, but I definitely liked it pre-home more than I did right now.
So what exactly don't you like about post-home that you liked about pre? Because Dracovish was still Dracovish.
I like I said, I think it was just the ability to, because we had like less. There was only so many speed tiers, right? So we had Dragapult, then we had Cinderace, right? And then it dropped all the way down. Besides Dugtrio. I'm assuming Dugtrio got banned in this scenario too. Although Dugtrio was not. But basically Dugtrio, and then after that it just jumped all the way down, right? So then you had like the miscellaneous mons like Obstagoon, which was also a lot better. And then it jumps down again. And I liked that you were able to use certain Pokemon that, you couldn't see right now. Like right now I can't see myself using Vanillix because why would I use that over Kyurem, which has Freeze Dry, Ice Beam, and yeah, I can't stand Blizzard, but it's strong as hell. And then like obviously faster Pokemon invalidate certain mons like Obstagoon, which was a great wall breaker. A lot harder to use at the moment because of Zeraora running around with close combat, its inability to break like it was before. And even though it did struggle with Pokemon like Corviknight before anyway, you could easily pair teammates, but a lot of those are invalidated just because it was around. Like you'd see like Obstagoon breaking through the standard balance of Rotom Heat, Seismitoad, Corviknight, like type Clefable type builds. Clefable also still did run a little bit of special defense, so you 2 KO'd. But now those are still there, but then you have like the higher speed tiers with them. So it also took advantage of the fact that Dragapult was on the team too, because I mean, unless you're clicking Specs Draco, you're not doing that much to Obstagoon. So I feel like the higher speed tiers we got and the bigger threats we got really did influence. Like we'll still see those same Pokemon. In fact, like we have Seismitoad with more usage, but right before the Dracovish ban. But I just think that made such a huge, huge difference. I don't know. It was just
okay. And so, okay, I see what you're saying. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I have the best. I think a lot of post home I wasn't as active, and so in the initial 2 or month and a half, home came out February, right?
Yeah.
And so for like a month and a half, I wasn't active on YouTube. And if I'm not active on YouTube, I'm definitely not active playing. And
Pokemon,
Right. And so, I came back sort of to this different landscape because pre-home I had kind of like adapted to the meta. I had like regained my skill around that time and was like normalized again. And then whenever I take extended breaks, obviously coming back to different meta games, I have to re-up on the knowledge. Celebi, Jirachi, Terrakion, all these new things are there. And so I thought I'd come back to this crazy meta game. It's like, now Jirachi's added, maybe Celebi solid, more. Because bulk up Corviknight was ravenous, and so maybe other things that can help check that. Now Keldeo, Virizion, but it's funny because it seems with the addition of new Pokemon, the diversity lessened. Well, that's the complaint that I would always receive, and you got to understand as a viewer, a lot of you guys will play more than like a content creator, particularly ones that are mainly competitive. So I can speak for myself, like unless I'm recording or I have a tournament, I'm not playing like ridiculous amounts of off-screen games. So my idea of the metagame is whatever I recorded that day, or whatever I recorded that week, whereas you as a viewer may play 25 games, and in those 25 games you're playing 20 Cliffs, and so your vision of Cliff over a 20 game span is like, I'm not enjoying the meta because I'm tired of seeing Cliff picks 20 times. And so I can understand why your perception of the meta game was different, because I was like, I was gone for long, and I just wasn't playing as many games. And so I'd agree in the sense that the games feel longer, which I don't necessarily mind. It's more so the fact that there is no way around the length.
Yeah. We lack power. We lack really powerful breakers.
Right.
And that's taken into account like Specs Hexpult and like Specs Curum. I think on physical side, besides Vish, we really lack. And Vish is obviously has a hard counter. Mm-hmm. So we don't have Pokemon like Swords Dance Kartana or like things like that just immediately breaking through. And yeah, it's interesting. I think that just makes a huge difference because that does lead towards this slower, bulkier metagame. Now, there are ways of like dealing with it. We still have Aegislash, which is a great Sweeper, is a great specs breaker as well. Probably more so even better now that Dracovish is gone, because you may see less Seismitoad, so less mons to take flash cannons. Not that Seismitoad took it any well. Like he was 2 KO'd easily by what's it called either way, Shadow Ball. But like even with like what's the most dangerous physical attacker we have? Conkeldurr, maybe it's Conkeldurr. Just off the top of my head, I can't think of like just with raw power, right? Bishop. Only thing it needs is Flame Orb. Doesn't need a boost, just needs to come in. It's probably Conk, right? Conk
or Drill or Bisharp.
Yeah, or Bisharp. Yeah, Bisharp is one. We have a bunch of great special attackers.
Tarak to a degree.
yeah. Tarak's all right. I think it's actually really underrated. Personally.
Yeah. SD Tarak has no switches in the tier.
Yeah, period. But that also has to do with like there's a whole bunch of ghosts, and you have this ghost plus your fight your rock immunity. So it's really tough. But there's no real thing.
Shed engine, right?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. Fighting immunity plus rock resist. Sorry. Sorry.
The hip
so yeah, we have this thing where we're not really like power has kind of scaled back a little bit this metagame than what it was before.
For sure.
But defense has stayed the same. You know what I mean? Like Clefable still has Clefable stats. Toxapex still has Toxapex stats. Corviknight has great stats, period. Like it has an amazing HP stat, base 98, and then good 105, great 105 defense, and then good 85 special defense. So like we've scaled back towards a degree of I would say Gen 5. Gen 5 is where we started really seeing power creep, but we didn't really see it explode until Gen 6, where we got Megas and we got these Pokemon with like ridiculous. And then in Gen 7 we had like Pokemon like Artana, or the top was to abuse their terrains, or just any of the ultra
even then it wasn't even last gen specifically. It wasn't even just the power. like it was the Z move. So you know, if Z moves weren't a thing last gen, I think it'd be pretty close to what Gen 6 felt like.
I agree.
Because you had to
kind
of account. Yeah, you gotta account for not just +2 cart, but you have to account for +2 cart random Giga Impact. Like, so that Zapdos couldn't. There was no, and then it's something you can never know. Like, you can never know whether it has Giga Impact or not, and so you have to bounce around guessing, and so that made last gen feel a lot less safe. Like, there was no, like, you could not just go Pex because like that Jirachi, T-Bolt, boom, Z, like electric, Z Psychic.
And while I believe like there's obviously a huge degree of skill in Pokemon everywhere, I do think that the Z move is also, like, you could say, oh, okay, they should, if they have a Z move, they're gonna go for it now, off of like a hunch, right?
Yeah.
Or off of like you don't see an item, but like a Lele comes out, there's Spec Psychic. There's only so many mons you can bring in on Spec Psychic versus a Z all out pummeling or things like this. So like, it made a huge difference. And there's also a huge matchup issue, I feel, last generation as well. Where some teams are just straight up lose to Volcarona on some things. Because we had so much power, right? We had Magearna, we had Ash Greninja, we had Cart. And then like even defensive answers could just be powered through. So this generation doesn't feel like that. At least currently. It did with Dynamax, right? Everything was broken with Dynamax, but Dynamax is out of the equation now, so.
No, I think you're correct in your assessment as far as the like, I would never say I think things are still powerful, but it's just there's a difference between immediate power and setup power.
Yeah.
And so like a Kyurem, all of our breakers are immediate power. The problem with immediate power is if you have the solid answer for that thing, and you're the one on the offensive end of the spectrum. So let's say your opponent has a very defensive team in Hippo, Vex, Clef, Corviknight, whatever. If your Conch can beat all 4 or 5 if you click the right move, right? Like but at that point because I mean usually those teams do have like one or so fast something, a Gengar, Polt, or like it's rarely ever just fully slow, and so all it takes is that Togekiss to come in on your Drain Punch one time, or whatever it is going to take, a teleport on the wrong turn, a whirlwind with the Hippo with the Rocky Helmet, and before you know it, while Conch on paper should be able to handle, it's now at 40% burnt, and you have to deal with Sandstorm, and you might
Rocky Helmet.
You might have ruffled around his team a bit, but because everything can Wish, Recover, Roost, teleport,
you're going into a big thing, dude.
Regen.
The Wish teleport, Magic Guard is a huge reason as well. Like, you're really going into that.
I mean, I don't even think that's as broken as people think. I just think we don't have in any proper setup sweepers, like and so there are plenty of mines I can think of that just like just one of them coming back to the metagame just invalidates that core completely, and most cores, but a lot of the major setup sweepers aren't here, and so I think kind of to poke my head into what would be the next podcast, I think something like Azumarill coming back would just invalidate most cores,
which it is, which would be really cool,
and so things like Magnezone, obviously.
Yeah, Zone is going to be, because Flash Cannon plus Thunderbolt, Size and Toad, who cares? Take 40% from us Specs Flash Cannon.
Absolutely, you're 100%. And I mean, trapping, because a lot of the cores depend on certain mon, otherwise they fall apart. Corviknight being a big one, particularly with Drill. Drill is a very problematic mon this gen. And so if Corviknight's your main guy and then you're depending on that and you're facing a Drill Zone kind of team, chances are you're going to get ravaged by that Life Orb Drill, I understand. But again, kind of leaning back to Azu without going into all the mons coming back, Drum Azu just destroys the Corviknight, destroys the Pex, destroys the Clef, destroys the Hippo, and so people will have something to go back to, especially if it's something like a Veil style, where they can go, boom, I'm gonna just Veil up and overwhelm you with my Bisharp Azu. Okay, sure, you want to go to Clef Bet, or I'll just overwhelm your Hippo, sack Bisharp, which doesn't even die under Veiled, and so like it gives other playstyles, because I think a lot of times now the playstyles come about not even necessarily from, oh, I'm just a Cliff user. It's like, man, if you're playing 15 games a day, 20 games a day, and you keep losing the Cliff, you're like, I've literally seen people in the Discord, fuck it, man, I'm using the Cliff,
I think it makes sense, dude. Like, I think the metagame also right now is like you have two types of teams I think you can use, either straight up offense or a hard balance where you're using Clefable, because your team is just either Clefable is 60% used for a reason, like your team is arguably worse without it. That's it. When you're checking so much of the metagame as well. So I do think that's also a product. If you're seeing everyone else using it, I was like, oh, okay, this is how they're beating me, huh? Maybe I should do this, because I also find myself struggling with Securum, because all my mons are 2 KO'd or whatever. So
boom.
Yeah, I think it makes a big difference.
Boom, and then it just goes. So I mean, we kind of provided some context. We don't have a ton of time, but provided some context. Let's go into quickly, like, what are some, as we near 1 week, 7 days left. Some things that you think, because what I found, some things that could have seen more like value, let's say, but just were underrated or overlooked or
outclassed.
I don't think outclassed is what I'd say there, because I mean, if it was outclassed, then you wouldn't use it. That's why it wasn't used. But like things that could have, because I think generally sometimes you're either like a really good player or you're a really good builder, and it's rare that you see both. And so like a good player might not be able to build, and so his building style will be very linear. Slap Clef talks, but like there's not too much creativity in his thought process, and if there is, he doesn't know how to make them work in unison, and so it's the team's trash. And so because they're like, I don't want to keep losing, they just go back to what they're comfortable with. And so that's why in the top of the ladder, people don't know, have like secret accounts and whatnot. But as I was practicing, went up, and it's very similar structured, either just some variant of hardstyle, Runiclus thing, or the balance Hippos, Clef, Pex, and I'd be having 200 turn game, because I can tell, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be 200 turns. I can win it, but I just know it's not a quick, like there's no SD card time.
And that also has to do with like maybe Jam not recorded because he played one game in 30 minutes.
Yeah,
does your whole life.
Yeah, that is, and then there's no way around that, and that's the thing about it. Like in the past, there were things I could be like, okay, I'm gonna slap on this combination of Pokemon that you kind of have a landscape of what. Okay, Pex, in the Z move era. Okay, bam, boom, trap, blah, 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 Pex, he ran. There's something like there were ways to get around common things. Like they weren't just like 90% of the metagame cannot OHKO Pex. Like I can just lead with it, and almost nothing in the metagame can OHKO Pex. Like nothing. Like if it's the wrong set and you attack it, it won't die. And so stuff like that is problematic. Unless you're like a life or a bandit drill, like you're not killing that guy. And obviously he's generally paired with things that can counter the things that could potentially OHKO him. And so I've won many a game with Pex. You just can't kill it. Like I'll just sit here all day and you cannot kill this thing.
Well, I mean, like I've used my Pex to beat 0Rs. Baneful Bunker, switch, come back. Yeah, like that's standard. Like,
but yeah, back to the kind of went out. But what are some things you think could have seen more usage, but wasn't fully explored?
Well, I don't know if it's fully explored because a lot of them have like standard sets or not, but I think that Crawdon is always really good. And it has a speed tier that's just faster than Seismitoad, just faster than, Aegislash, just faster than Corviknight, Ferrothorn. But I think part of the reason that wasn't used was on the offensive water side you have Dracovish, and on the offensive dark side you have Bisharp, which is arguably a better no-nonsense mon because of Sucker Punch. But I do think that Crawdon was something that we definitely could have seen more of. I feel like weather, like sun specifically, could have been something that was more of two, because Venusaur's a threat. Weather ball picking up KOs on Ferrothorn, and the fact that Venusaur can disrupt common cores of steel type, fairy type, your Rotom Heat, your water type. I feel like Venusaur was something that was completely not. I think underrated is the word I'm actually looking for. Like, underrated was the word I'm definitely looking for Venusaur. And then lastly, I want to say Keldeo. I feel like Taunt Calm Mind is good. I think it's really good, especially because even Ferrothorns aren't running like Power Whip. But it's just the ability to break through packs, right? You just Calm Mind up. But even then, in terms of like initial power, like I saw you facing a Calm Mind Air Slash Keldeo the other day, which I mean I think it's cool, but I think that its speed tier, it's something that like doesn't immediately punish Dragapult upon switching either, or like Clef can knock it or Moonblast and then teleport from there. I think that's still good. I just think something that was like people were afraid to use just because its inability at +1 to really knock out a lot in the metagame. But it could set up on a lot of the fat, which is why I really liked it. And then lastly, we see Jirachi in OU right now, but I feel like we don't see a lot of the sets that kind of makes it shine. Calm Mind you used recently, which I think is cool. I see a lot of Scarf, which I don't think. I mean, it's a good way. It's a healing wish trick, whatever. But I feel like
the best way to use it, probably.
Yeah. I feel like offensively, you could really use this Pokemon and kind of just take advantage. Like one of the ones that ABR used recently was callback to Gen 4 Expert Belt Jirachi with like Iron Head, Grass Knot, Thunderbolt, and Psychic, and it was good. Besides like Ferrothorn, you hit everything.
Right.
So it was really good. So that's a few of the mons I feel like are a little bit like underrated or unexplored. I think a lot of also like in terms of offensive fighting types, I always thought Surfetch was good. Not that's like underrated. I think it's rated well. It's UU, but Scrappy and being able to just click close combat makes a big thing. But its inability to break through Toxapex makes a huge,
you can't hit it.
It makes a huge impression on like its actual usage. So.
Okay, I feel that. I definitely think Chandelure is something that's really proud. Like Specs lore. If because it was one of my OU headmasters that passed me a team, and again I wasn't as active in the meta, and so as I was looking at this team, I'm like, Specs Chandelure used in the way, because he didn't even have the team like this, but using it in the way that Dragapult, because I had a team that he passed me as well, which I'm using obviously Specs Pult Hex, and so that's really difficult to deal with, particularly with Tyranitar's Fall from Grace, and so Chandelure is insanely difficult to switch into once you get like Hex starts running. Like nothing, unless you're a Mandibuzz, you're probably dead. And Mandibuzz doesn't feel comfortable because Overheat roasts you. So it just needs to predict you one time. Or Flamethrower to a KO. So, and because it's speed tier with Modest, with this metagame is still so lethal. Just patiently, like, Toxic Spike stacking, and then just chilling, burning whatever with Toxapex until you can get that Hex in, coupled with Clefable. What is Clefable, Lauren? Steel types. Clefable, Lauren? Toxapex, burnt Toxapex, or if it's a knockoff, something with knockoff, knocks Pex out of mob, boom, teleport, predict Pex, Chandelure, destruction with Hex. Like it's actually quite. I was like, man, this shit is a problem. Like if I really wanted to, like this would be the one. Like if I was playing a tour game now, I definitely rock some
It's really funny you say that, dude, because there was a little period like a month ago that Spec Chandelure was rising in tournaments, so that's actually why Tyranitar was rising up again too. In tournaments, though, not on the ladder.
Right, because really it's different. Like it's people forget. So like, and I was gonna do this in a different thing, but like tournament players generally are gonna be, and so okay. So how this works, this won't be long. It's just a quick explanation to give context, because I've started to realize, as I was saying, like there are a lot of people who may be like just meeting me in the sense of like just Jam is just the guy who plays Showdown, and so when I was fooling around 1600, 1700, I had a guy I was telling you about this. A guy, PM me trying to give me advice, and he's like, I would have, good intent. So I didn't say anything like to him, but like he was, it was like a 1500 range player, like and which was just, you are where you are, but it's just crazy that I'm like, man, part of me was like, do you know who I am? Like, so, like, and so I'm like, okay, why did this happen? And so I really had to take it a step back. Okay, you haven't been active tour, you haven't really been like taking like ladder seriously, and so that guy's impression of you may be just what he sees in the 1 or 3 videos that he's seen. And so I'm like, okay, I'll fix that. And so that's why now we're gonna be 1900 plus pretty much every live, or 2000, higher ladder, so you can see higher quality games. And secondly, in playing World Cup, you gotta realize, so the ladder works like this: when you become a ladder peaker, meaning you get number 1 consistently, because that, like, eventually, just like how you probably hit 1400 for the first time, then that got easy, and then you hit 1600, that got easy, even though initially it was hard. Once you finally break through, that becomes like your new norm. In the same way, like, topping the ladder, getting number 1 becomes very, like, not easy, I guess is a way of putting it. And so it gets to a point where that's no longer challenging to you. So that's why in lives I generally don't aim to top the ladder, because like it has no real meaning. It's more interesting to use.
That's why we use different teams every video,
right,
as opposed to, like, we could easily like get. We've done it both. Jam's done it on Secret. I've been doing it on my alts too. Just getting top 10s with just one team, because I mean, you learn how to use a team. You just go up. I did it with Vale. I've done it with fat teams too that I did not want to record with.
Right. So, yeah, just using a boring hippo clip. Like, I can do that and just peek, because like, but that's not the most entertaining thing to watch. And so using your Surfetched lives and all, like, these are necessary because we have to balance entertainment with competence, like, at least for my channel, with the competitive side. And so, but like, beyond that, once you become like a ladder topper, beyond that you go into tournaments where you're playing other people that are ladder, like previous ladder toppers.
You use the same team every time,
right? And so
then you can try. I'm not validating that.
I mean, you got Telly, but yeah. So like, if shout out to Telly, but yeah. And so beyond ladder, that's your next level. You're gonna play tournaments where there are a bunch of people who have topped respective ladders, and then within the tournament ladder toppers, then you have another hierarchy, which is, you can still be a ladder topper but be at the bottom of the rung of the tournament players, and you can also not be a ladder player and be good at, but that's, I think you need to have topped some kind of, like, you need to have gotten that kind of experience under your belt before you even try to though it's possible, but I'd get that first. But that's generally how it goes. You rank up the ladder, you get your experience there, and then you go into the pool of people who already topped ladders, and then you play within them, and then within them you have, the guy who joins tournament games but always goes 0-6 or 1-6 or 1-5 or 2-5. He's not necessarily like a bad player, he's just doesn't perform well within that group. And so if he goes on the ladder, he'll top the ladder because he's already past that milestone. And so that's why a lot of times you may hear people say, like, being good on ladder doesn't really mean shit. It does, but upon beyond a certain point it doesn't, because everybody's top the ladder. So OLT will come, and if you notice, when OLT time comes around,
when them ladder players be in the tournament, they don't be doing that great,
right? Because now you have to face other ladder toppers, and so now you, who used to be top 2 or top 3 or whatever, you can't even get in the top 20 because you see nothing but LT something, because now you got to beat really good players, and it's like, oh, okay, so that's where I stand in the hierarchy, and that's good because then you can grow further. But I think that's something that, as I get newer viewers, I want people to understand. So if you see Joey, Blunder, me, I think it's just the 3 of us for the most part. Even Chimp to a degree, when Chimp used to be active. We've already like done that to like so much in the past on our journey to where it's not really an accomplishment for us anymore. So we don't get the surge of feeling. But when we initially did, sure. So if you're like aiming to get like top 10 and stuff, fuck yeah, go ahead. Like it's a stepping stone.
I mean, don't get me wrong though. Especially during my road to top 10s, if I get hacked, I'm so grateful to be done and excited. Don't get me wrong. I do still have that.
Right.
But yeah, definitely, it's just. I mean, I feel like you could say the same thing about tournaments too, guys. I played tournaments for so many years that I played the same people every year for years. It gets to the point where like I don't even care like if I play somebody at this point, which is why I don't join as many tournaments now because I want to care. I want to care when I play. But like I played FLC Fully Cully 5 times, 6 times in major tournaments, and he recently beat me in SBL. But like I'd taken him in SBL and World Cup before too. So like it's just like this is not a rivalry, man. I want to play other people. You know what I mean?
And I think that's a part of. There are 2 facets to that problem. I mean, I think there is a somewhat of a kind of a barrier to entry.
Yeah, the fact that they're not letting new people play, which is a big thing. Like you're playing the same 200 people, the 1% that plays on Showdown.
Exactly, or doesn't play on Showdown, because I mean, tour players don't really ladder like that, and so that was the hope with this thing, with the whole movement with the academy. Is like, one, to lower the barrier of entry, fuck it, like we could still use the small gun system, but like create a whole different tour if that's what it would be required, just to get your name, whatever. But more so to just like, we obviously know a lot about that scene. I don't ever ask for, I don't try out. I don't like. But
I put my name down, I'm getting on a team.
Yeah, like shit. Like every year World Cup, they bombard me. Like Stone Cold from 2 months ago. Yo, Jam, it's about that time, man. We coming out of retirement, blah, blah, blah. And every year, this is the same thing. Whether it be Stone Cold, whether I was on UK, US East, this is the same stuff. And so, that's not, like, if you're not connected, which it shouldn't be the case. Like, that shouldn't be how it is. If you're not connected, then, I mean, they already have their roster. Like, I could have not played for 2 years.
I've been around for a year. We're literally been in the same chat for years. Like, that's it. And that's it's already been determined.
Exactly.
So,
which isn't, so for newer players to come up. Exactly. And so only way. Go ahead.
I'm fighting for my place because I haven't been playing much tournaments. Like, that's how it should be.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, like, that's a good point, and so I think just starting from the bottom, meaning like, those who are working their way up, and just hopefully, because we do have a couple of Smogon players within the academy who are headmasters, and so as they start to, develop and help those come up, help everybody come up, with the Articles book. I think within the next 6 months, by the end of this year, post DLC, I think we can have, with the things I'm coming out with, like a serious shift to where, Biscuit Boy 42 is coming for your points. Like, what I mean?
And real talk, when subs get better and everything gets better, it also encourages us to get better too. Like, look at Jam's scenario where the dude questioned him and tried to give him advice because Jam playing on the 1500s. Like, when I start like legitimately losing to, like, in tournaments and stuff like that, it definitely makes me want to fight more.
Right.
But it also depends on the metagame too, if I actually care. Like SBL, for instance, was pretty bad.
But that's with everything. I think I definitely got complacent.
No, I feel the same way too. That's why I don't want to join Grand Slam, just because of the timing and everything. But I really want to excel in my road to top 10 this year. Like my record in one of them, I think, was like 37-3 in terms of losses. I think that was Ubers, and then I did one in like RU with like 4 losses. So I wanna beat myself, and. When I see my subs beating me on the ladder, it's like, oh crap, I want to beat them down too. No, I love myself, but like, it's like, oh, those are people that were learning from me, and then they're getting better. So I mean, I also do it. I also get complacent. Yeah. I do have those times where if I really, 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 want to play, and same with Jam, he will. And that's, I mean, he's joining us. He joined World Cup.
Yeah, every year this is the same thing. Like, people don't know that. Like, unless you're an OG sub, I'm like, every year before World Cup, I haven't played in like 4 months, 3 months.
Yeah.
And so I always have to relearn Pokemon around this time of year. This is the most consistent I've been up to World Cup as far as YouTube. Like usually I haven't uploaded in like 2 months, and then boom, World Cup comes around and I have to like relearn everything. And so that's how I've done that so many times. That's how the book was written, as I keep saying. But like, and obviously the same thing is happening again. But I say that to say, like, when it's time to be serious, and that's why they do feel comfortable going with people they've already know, because they're like, you know, if I'm in the 1200s in a Showdown live and I'm just getting battered, they'll still come find me because they know, like, okay, when it's time for him to tour jam is very different. Yeah.
Like that's the same thing with me. Like I've always like say, guys, hey, let me sub this year. I haven't been playing as much, but they always say, yeah, maybe you have low lows, but your high ceiling is up there too. Like if you play up to par, you'll win. Like that's the thing. So it's the same thing with Jam. Jam goes crazy in tours.
Right. That's where my notoriety came from. Like tours.
You just need the motivation. That's it. Like, and the willingness, and I can't wait to watch Jam play, especially in a new metagame where it completely do it. Oof. I'm sitting right there on my bench. Hopefully, not get subbed in because I.
Oh, you're not playing.
I asked them to sub me,
okay.
But I think I will have a chance to play for sure.
What if I
did ask them. I did ask them just because the DLC will be out, and like I gotta go hard for work first, before I care about this. But I definitely, if I play, you know, I'm gonna give my all. I'm gonna be practicing with the team a bunch, everything. Because the last tournament I actually played hard in was SPL, like not this SPL, but the last one where I had my best record ever. And then you know Grand Slam as well, where I made it to round 2 of playoffs. Unfortunately, never finals. But I'm excited to see how Jam does, especially if he's enjoying the metagame. I think that makes such a huge difference too.
Yeah, hopefully my time doesn't get strict up, because then I'll just not play. But currently, I'm like, okay, if it's 3 weeks for 3 people, that's why I wrote, because the only one I ever joined to the viewers. 3 weeks to play 3 people. I'm not doing. There's just no time in my week for to prepare for a battle every week, because I'm not just fucking around and just putting a team together and hoping. Like, I'm coming here to rip your head off, and so people are used to that, and especially because like, being one of the few YouTubers that actually is a high-level tournament player, my viewers come to expect. If it's a tour game for me, viewers have a certain expectation. They're not expecting no losses ever, like ever.
And if play well,
right, and if I lose, it better be to some overwhelmingly like unwinnable matchup or hacks. That's the only thing they ever take, because that's what they're used to, especially back in like this. So I have that pressure on me, so I'm like, man, if I'm gonna join this, I can't be fucking around. So I either know if I can and I don't join, or you know, you get the idea. What Joey's doing right now with not SPL,
World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm there. I'll help them out. I'll play a bunch of test games, but
not World Cup. Grand Slam. You're not joining that.
Oh yeah. I'm not joining Grand Slam because I'll tell them. I'm the only person in the history of Smogon to join it 3 times and make playoffs all 3 times. I got my pride to keep on. You know, it's not about winning the tournament anymore. It's about making playoffs. So if I gotta play 5-6 tournament tiers a week, it's impossible with like 2 to 3 uploads a day type of thing and 2 streams a day. It's impossible. And I want to do well. So like once I have that time, once I can chill, especially with everything going on, and you know, ads are less and everything. Like I gotta keep in mind my own health too. I don't want to worry.
Yeah.
But I also don't stick around and like lose.
Right.
Round 1. You know.
Yeah.
I want to perform. So I want to win that tournament. That's my favorite tournament ever. I want to win it one day.
Yeah.
I will.
Bet.
Just not this year.
Nah. But yeah. We just wrap it up there. Over time anyway. But
yeah.
Anything else you want to add before we go?
There's some awesome stuff that's going to be coming out, man, with the DLC, and I cannot wait to play the metagame. That's all I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
What do you think? Absolutely. What do you think is power? What do you think is going to just fall off the map with DLC?
As in, like in standard OU, what's gonna fall off?
Yeah, like one mon that you think's just like we won't ever see it again, or drop in like damn near no usage.
Let me scroll real quick. Mimikyu, bro. Get that mon out of OU. I think out of everything, Mimikyu for sure.
Mimikyu.
It's the one that won't remain in OU. Though that mon is always like just barely able to survive because of
lower ladder stuff.
Yeah, like Mimikyu's the only one. I could inevitably see Grimmsnarl and Hatterene. I think we talked about this before.
Yeah, Grimmsnarl. Because
yeah, because I mean, as dual screens, it's cool, but you never see Grimmsnarl sleeping, ever. It's not like when it Dynamax, it was a threat.
Mm-hmm.
It was a threat, but yeah, you don't see that mon sleeping anytime soon.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be interesting to see how the metagame changes.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exciting as well. So
for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm just excited to see. I'm hoping because I love when these mons are in lower tiers too, because it sucks because there's so many there's less Pokemon. Which I'm okay with, because I do think there is potential to have a really diverse metagame with less Pokemon. I just think you have to get rid of the big pieces, but I also think the people are sometimes just really ban happy too, without exploring. Like, I don't think Darm personally should have been fully banned by itself, and now with us getting back Teleport, Slowbro, and Kangoth coming back for other mons, I feel like this is that's the type of mon where it could do something.
You mean Darm, like as in Guerrilla Tactics, or just non-Guerrilla?
Guerrilla Tactics too. I've used it in what's it called? I've used it in what's the metagame called? National Dex. It's good, not broken. It's good.
But I'm saying Guerrilla Tactics could not have stayed in the current meta. Like the meta that was banned, it couldn't have stayed.
Yeah. Well, it should have been Sasper Test too. It shouldn't have been Quick Ban in that regard too. But
it was suspect tested, was it not?
No, it was not. They Quick Banned Darm. They Sasper Tested Dynamax.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean there was just no, especially with less mon that we had. Well, that's the whole kind. But there's just no way Darm.
Oh, for sure. But this should have been community based, not just, hey, we want to ban it.
I got you. I feel that.
But I don't know. I'm so interested to see how the metagame changes, and I think we'll get a lot of great Pokemon. That will make a difference. And I think Slowbro is one of them too, for sure.
You said
what? I think Slowbro is one of them too.
Slowbro.
Like I cannot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah. Let's see what the new one does.
I also think Gyarados is extremely underrated in OU currently. If we have to talk about underrated mon, the mon, because I told you before, the team that got me like top 10 was the Veil team with Gyarados, because Gyarados is one of those mons that puts itself in a position to hacks the opponent, because Waterfall flinches. That's it. Bounce paralyzes. So, like, it's the mon that can break through a lot of its answers. I think that mon is extremely underrated, and I was very happy to see it destroy, like absolutely destroy, and what's it called? In your Uber video.
Oh, the Uber, yeah. It was pretty fun. I think it was Dreadnought. It just ate up Dreadnought. That I think was the rain one. Yeah, it just crushed. But yeah. So we're gonna wrap it up for today, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed, and we'll do one where we just actually discuss the potential impact. I know you did one on your channel. Those are long form as well, but like more like heavy competitive. Like, I'm not gonna do all of them, like, because I don't think all of them will be super relevant.
Hey, look out for Lycanroc, bro.
No.
That mon gets high horsepower, close combat, and psychic fangs now. Just look out.
Yeah, still dying to Bullet Punch from Scizor. But yeah, so we're gonna say, it might be relevant. We'll see. It'd be cool if it was, but we'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching, y'all, or listening rather. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.
Peace.